Hello and welcome to video number 2 of the strategy game Warring Factions. So, the first thing I do when I log in usually is respond to messages I get, and here's a few. I've been in contact with these people for a while through playing the game, so it's always polite to respond to messages as soon as you can. Most of this game is in diplomacy itself more so than the movement of fleets. They come second to the arrangement of the movement through communicating with all your other teammates. I haven't actually joined their empire yet, but I'll get around to it. As a group, what you do is collectivize all your resources together and you help out the newer players. So I can easily ask them for ships and citizens, which then I commission and send back into service to them under my name as a way to get around the limitations on the sizes of your fleets, and all the people join their fleets together into massive super death fleets with hundreds of thousands of ships and attack each other's homeworlds with them. And that comes after a lot of planning and a lot of small battles. Now looking at my colony, it's been more than 12 hours, so it's a capital. And as I said, all I have now are criminals, but my health situation has been solved through my generous wages and specific laws. The population growth is okay, and the wealth is pretty average. As the wealth increases, so does the crime, which then decreases the wealth again until I build more police stations. I've got a few new scientists to hire, but this isn't the best graph, so you go to the scientists page under the technology tree, and here I can get a better overview of them all at once, and I'm just going to hire all of them. You need to run as many projects at once as you can if you want the best technology. So now I'm going to check up on that research project that I started the other video, and it's not quite finished yet. And when it does, I'll be sure to start new research projects with all these new scientists, and that'll be in video number 3. My main colony's doing good. If you were to start this game and not do anything to your colony, it would be okay as well, but it wouldn't be as good as this setup. So now I need to make up for my strategy and build those police stations. If you notice, they're still quite expensive, but when I started I had 50 million credits, and now I have 50 million credits. And everything is stable. So I'm back at square one 12 hours later with a real income, and that's the setup I wanted to show you with this video and the certain wages and laws. So now looking at what my probes have explored, it should be showing up more details about each planet as I scroll over them once they've been explored properly. And that's not very difficult with the scripts. And then in the 3D map view, you can see what used to be unexplored now has the system and star detail, the star and planet details. The only number you need to worry about for these when sending mass fleets is the planet number. So looking over at this spot here, this probe is at what we call triple 100 or star 100, or the system entrance. and every fleet that comes to the system has to pass through that spot, so it's like a gateway. And it's now you can see its particular angle above the star that it's explored, not the one that says unexplored. And that's where they sit in the 3D space. Now I'm going to show you some more about the scoring screens and statistics information in the game that helps you become the best player. After my colony's been going for a little bit longer, I'll be able to explain more about how to use these graphs to tell a bit more about how what you're doing to the economy affects it. But up until now, I think the only thing that's come up is alignment, which is influenced by many things, and it's very helpful to have a very high alignment, but it doesn't matter much to have an average one, and it is quite damaging to have a very low alignment. You lower your alignment by exterminatus, where you eliminate your population and yourself, or by killing enemy or any civilians at all, or any citizens. And when there's an attack, there'll always be a certain amount that die, and that causes you to lose alignment. This has all the information about the entire galaxy, rather the universe, with all the galaxies in it. I think there might be up to 50 galaxies in a single universe in some games, but we tend to stick to around 12. There's quite a few ships in active duty, and of that you can contribute 20,000 ships. So it's a sizable fleet out there. And under this overview page, command overview, you can see, yes, through the command center submenu, you can collectively look at all your colonies. You don't have to click through each one when you have heaps. And there is no limit to how many colonies you have, but they max out at about 50 to 100 due to corruption. But you can't just have one colony after you have more than 400,000 people. This map is the galaxy map, and it shows all of your explored and unexplored systems, and you use it to plan your attacks and defences. And as I explore more galaxies, I'll be able to generate more galaxy maps. You can calculate distances a lot more effectively, and then over collectively, and then use other tools in this interface I'll show you later to check the correct distances. And see, under the intelligence menu, this is where you upload all of your exploration data to your empire, which is hyperlink there at the top. And of course I'm not in an empire, so I can't do it. You can also generate lists of planets with specific criteria after you've explored them, so you don't have to manually check every one. This is a sensor array, which you use when you send out surveyors. You deploy them into a sensor net, and you need to scan for enemy ships, and you get three-dimensional coordinates you can plot to find where they are on the map and intercept them. Because otherwise, if you can't see them, you don't know they're there, and then that's how you lose colonies. You need a solid sensor array. And there's other tools. The Empire Rally Point database is extremely important, because you can keep a record of all the enemy colonies you find and where all of your friendly outposts are. And the WarpNet planner is very important, and that's how you set up trade routes with WarpNets, which are a series of transports deployed into trade stations that can refuel ships in mid-space. Then, of course, I'm going to show you now all the different research projects you can possibly do. I think there's, I don't know, up to about 30 of them. But anyway, the mines, institutions, ship hulls, which there's 14 of. Many types of weapons and armour, and they all interact with each other in certain ways, which I'll describe later. And ground defences for your colonies, because you can invade colonies with fighters and bombers and troop transports to conquer them. And that's how you take over them after you get your light ships in through the heavy capital ship battles at the system entrance. These are the blueprints for all your ships and buildings. It's quite a simple menu to click through, and when you've got a lot of research projects completed, it automatically sorts them into the best one. But that doesn't always tell you the best story, because you need to weigh up the cost and resources versus the weight and efficiency and value, etc. Making a ship, you go to the ship design page and add in whichever designs you want to add to the ship. Everything you change affects everything else, so you can see here it has a maximum layout capacity, and as you add and decrease armor, you change its weight and its speed and its cost and its targeting score. And so it's a lot to learn at first, but a lot of people have got a lot of experience with it, so I plan to make some more videos and lay it out in layman's terms as much as I possibly can. Now there's a limit here. If you go into negative hull layout, you can't actually build that ship. So if you finished your ship and you look at it and you want it to be faster, then you just decrease armor or whatever. And some ship designs specifically leave them are left with very little armor and a lot of weapons, for example, like a glass cannon. And those are designs to combat certain rules in the targeting system. But of course, if you don't have all the blueprints yourself, you can buy them at the market, which is under this technology submenu. And then also there's a forgotten knowledge tree, which is created when people delete blueprints. So a lot of people don't delete their blueprints and hoard them so that people don't get them. But like this is much better than anything I could possibly create, this hull, so I would look at investing in this if I can't find a bargain to get that hull through diplomacy. Luckily those people are in my faction, so that shouldn't be too difficult. And now checking my Starlog again, Winnick's been online and he's responded. People give him a hard time. They call him a egocentric pathological liar. But I know how to deal with those sorts of people because my ex-wife was one of those. So yeah, I don't really mind. Anyway, big egos cause big problems when we got a war game going on. So now we're not in the same empire or the same faction, but that doesn't mean we can't talk to each other. It just means you show discretion in what you share about what your empire's doing. Because even though you might be enemies this round, next year you might be in the same team, and if you've been a nasty dickhead, then no one's going to want to help you, so or they're not going to trust you. So you might never be given the opportunity to command combined fleets. I, on the other hand, when I get an empire and gather the resources to do that, I tend to find it a struggle for people to volunteer to do it, more so than trying to scold people for being bad, because you're supposed to make mistakes in this game, and that's how you learn. So the only reason I'm good at this game in any capacity is because I've failed more times than you've tried at it. I've made all the mistakes. And there are rules, and these are where you find them. So it's not very complicated. It's pretty straightforward, and they're great people to play with. Cheers.